What's going on, Alex Bros? It's Mr. C here, and in this video, I'm going to take you through an example of how simple interest is calculated, as well as compound interest. So we're going to do that using some specific values. I hope you're ready to get funky with this. Here we go. So let's say that I walk into the bank and I need to take out a loan, and that loan is for $2,000. That's going to be considered a value of capital P, which stands for principal. So we'll say P is equal to $2,000. And let's say I fill out a credit application, yada yada, so on and so forth. And after everybody that the paper comes across enters the information into the computer, they give me an APR, or annual percentage rate, of 8%. So I'm going to call that capital R and say that that's equal to 8%. And as a decimal, that would be 0.08. And let's say that the loan is only good for 1 year. So at the end of 1 year, that I have to pay not only the principal back, the amount that I borrowed, but also the interest that's charged on the amount that I borrow. So let's call that capital T, standing for time in years, and we'll say that I have to pay this back at the end of 1 year. So I have a table set up here with some calculations that I'd like to jot down, which will help us to figure out how much do I really owe at the end of 1 year. So the first column is for time, and that's going to be 1 complete year. And simple interest is calculated only one time, and it's based on the original principal. So the amount that the interest in this case is going to be charged on is the amount that I borrowed, which is $2,000. And the rate, which is 8%, as a decimal, we want to use 0.08 instead. And to figure out the interest, you basically just multiply these two values together, and what you would get is 0.08 times 2,000, and that's going to work out to be $160. So this $160 is kind of like a fee that I owe for borrowing the $2,000. And it's based on, of course, the amount that I borrowed, but also the rate at which I borrowed it. So at the end of 1 year, the total amount that I owe is not just going to be $2,000, but also the $160. So after 1 year, the amount that I owe the bank is going to be $2,160. And this is an example of how simple interest works. Let's say that I go to a different bank and I still want to borrow $2,000. So that would be a principal value of $2,000. And I fill out my credit application, so on and so forth, and the interest rate is still 8%, which I'm going to call that lowercase r now. 0.08 is what that would work out to be. And I'm still looking to have this paid off in 1 year. So I'll call that lowercase t this time, and that'll still be 1 year. I'm going to introduce another variable here, n, lowercase n that is, and I'm going to set this variable equal to 4, meaning that interest is charged after each quarter year. So there's going to be interest charged within this 1 year, and the total amount of times that it's going to be charged is 4 times. So this n equal 4 will mean that interest is charged quarterly. So let's say that the first quarter of the year has gone by. I'm going to see the first hit of interest on the account, and the amount that the interest is charged on is the principal of $2,000. Now the rate Now this is where it kind of gets interesting. The rate is actually not going to be 8%. The rate is actually going to be based on how many times the interest is charged throughout this given year. And since interest is charged 4 times per year, then each time that interest is charged, it's going to be 8% divided by 4, which is 2%, and as a decimal is 0.02. In fact, every time interest is charged, the rate that's going to be used is 2%. So it might not seem like it makes any difference, but as you'll see at the very end of this table, when we have our last cell completed, it does make a little bit of a difference doing it this way as opposed to the 8% just being utilized one time with the simple interest case. So when the $2,000 has the 2% interest charged on it, in other words, if we take 0.02 and multiply it to the 2,000, we wind up getting $40 even. So at the end of a quarter year, we currently owe $2,000 plus $40, or $2,040. Let's say another quarter year goes by, in which case interest is going to be charged again. This time the interest isn't going to be charged on the original principal of $2,000, but rather it's going to be charged on the amount that we owed after the first quarter year. In other words, interest is going to be charged on the $2,000, I'm sorry, the $2,040. So the rate that's going to be used is 2% still, or as a decimal 0.02, and we're going to take 0.02 and multiply it to the $2,040. This is going to wind up giving us $40.80. So at the end of a half year, or after the second quarter has gone by, we now currently owe $2,040 plus $40.80, giving us a grand total after the second quarter, $2,080.80. And this scheme continues on until the year has been completed. So after another quarter year, or 3 quarters into the year, interest is charged again, and it's going to be charged on the most recent amount we owe, or the amount after half a year, and that's $2,080.80. Again, 2% is going to be charged on that. So we'll take 0.02, multiply it to $2,080.80, and this is roughly $41.62. So at the end of 3/4 of a year, we will owe $2,080.80 plus $41.62, and this will put us at a current balance of $2,122.42. So now our last quarter comes around, meaning that we finish out the year. So there's one more interest calculation to do, and that's going to be based on the amount that was owed after the third quarter year. In other words, $2,122.42. Again, 2% is going to be charged on that. So 0.02 times $2,122.42, and this is about $42.45. So at the end of the entire year, we will have to owe the $2,122.42 plus the $42.45. So under this model, at the end of 1 year, I would owe the bank $2,164.87. which is $4.87 more than what I would owe under simple interest. So, where it might not seem like it makes a difference to use the 8% chopped up into 4, or in other words, 2% 4 times, it actually works out in favor of the bank. I would owe them a little bit more under this scheme versus the simple interest scheme. All right, so hopefully this helps to differentiate compound interest with simple interest. Of course, if you have any questions about this video, feel free to let me know. Otherwise, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.